The Mojave Desert, stark, silent, and ancient, was never truly empty. Its vastness holds stories older than memory, echoing with the footsteps of those who called it home long before maps or borders. For thousands of years, the Kawaiisu people thrived here, reading the land and sky, surviving through deep respect for the desert's harsh rhythms. They understood the subtle signs of water, the migration of animals, and the cycles of the sun and wind. To them, this was a homeland, not a wasteland, a place of abundance for those who knew how to listen and adapt. Then came explorers and prospectors, drawn by rumors of gold and the promise of new frontiers, seeing only obstacles and opportunity. In the 1800s, men like Jedediah Smith and John C. Fremont mapped routes through the Mojave, viewing it as a barrier to California's riches. Their journeys were perilous, marked by thirst, heat, and uncertainty. The desert's reputation shifted, transforming from a place to live to a place to conquer or cross, a challenge to be overcome on the way to something greater. The borax boom brought fleeting industry, 20 mule teams, mining camps, and legends of grit and endurance. For a brief moment, the desert echoed with the sounds of labor and ambition. But these towns vanished as quickly as they appeared, leaving behind only ruins and stories, the desert reclaiming what was once disturbed, a place of passing dreams and faded hopes. The Mojave became a blank slate in the American imagination, a vast silence waiting for a voice, a place where anything seemed possible, yet nothing seemed permanent. By the 1950s, the stage was set for a new vision, one that would try to transform this ancient land into something entirely new, fueled by optimism and the promise of progress. The desert's emptiness was seen as an opportunity, not a feature to preserve. Developers and dreamers saw endless potential in the open land, imagining cities where there was only sand and sky. And so, in the post-war boom, a man arrived with a plan to build a metropolis from scratch, a city that would rise from the dust, shaped by ambition and vision. The Mojave was about to become the canvas for one of America's boldest urban experiments, forever changing the fate of this timeless land. In 1958, Nat Mendelsohn stood in the vast, arid expanse of the Mojave Desert and envisioned a thriving city where others saw only endless sand and desolation. A sociologist and real estate developer, Mendelsohn dreamed big. He imagined tree-lined boulevards, sparkling lakes, lush parks, and a bustling city to rival the grandeur of Los Angeles. He ambitiously purchased 80,000 acres and enlisted a team of experts to meticulously design California City, a master-planned metropolis complete with neighborhoods, schools, churches, and even a man-made lake to enhance its allure. The plan was audacious and visionary. A dense urban core, commercial zones, and vast recreation areas were all part of the grand design. Mendelsohn believed he was ahead of the curve, offering affordable land as Southern California's population exploded, promising a new frontier for growth. His compelling pitch was simple yet powerful. Buy now and own a piece of the next great city, a city that promised prosperity and opportunity. The blueprint reflected the mid-century optimism of the era, a deep faith that vision, determination, and financial investment could bend the harsh desert to human will. California City was marketed as a utopia, a serene escape from the chaos and congestion of older, more established cities. The assumption was that growth was inevitable and the Mojave would soon bloom with homes, families, and vibrant communities. People weren't just buying land, they were investing in a dream, a vision of a promising future. It was a bold gamble. Could a metropolis truly be willed into existence, even in the harshest and most unforgiving of places? Mendelsohn was determined to find out, driven by his unwavering belief in the power of human ingenuity and ambition. Mendelsohn launched a massive land-selling campaign, targeting families across the U.S. and overseas. Glossy ads promised lakeside living, golf, and a booming community. Buyers were flown in for sales dinners, shown maps of a city that barely existed. The company paved hundreds of miles of roads, installed street signs, and built a central park and lake, physical proof of progress. The marketing was relentless, selling not just land but a dream. But the city was mostly empty grid lines in the sand. Regulators soon accused the company of misleading claims. Refunds were issued to thousands who felt deceived. The scandal shattered California City's momentum. Sales dried up, and the grand vision faded into a mirage. The dream of a metropolis began to unravel. The city never filled in. What was once a bold blueprint for a thriving metropolis now lies silent, its streets stretching out into the desert, waiting for footsteps that never came. Mendelssohn's vision hit a wall. People didn't want to live so far from jobs, schools, or the pulse of city life. The dream of a bustling community faded as reality set in. California City was simply too remote. The promised wave of growth never arrived. The desert's isolation proved stronger than any marketing campaign or hopeful sales pitch. Today, a small core exists, homes, a park, a golf course, offering a glimpse of what could have been. But just beyond, the roads stretch into emptiness, a stark contrast to the city's original ambitions. Miles of paved streets lead nowhere, marked by hopeful street signs on bare sand. Each sign is a relic of optimism, pointing to neighborhoods that never took shape. The city is the third largest in California by land, but only about 14,000 people live here, a tiny population scattered across a vast empty grid. You can drive for an hour on empty named streets without seeing a house, passing block after block of untouched land, the silence broken only by the wind. The infrastructure is there, roads, sidewalks, streetlights, but the community never materialized. The city's skeleton remains, waiting for life that never arrived. The optimism faded, replaced by resignation. Real estate signs now stand as faded reminders of dreams deferred. Land once sold as a surefire investment became little more than a deed to sand, a promise that never paid off for thousands of hopeful buyers. California City became a cautionary tale, a monument to the limits of real estate dreams and the unpredictability of human settlement. The desert, patient and unyielding, is slowly reclaiming the roads. Nature is erasing the lines drawn by human ambition, grain by grain. The city's ghostly grid stands as a reminder. You can't force a city to grow where it doesn't belong. The land decides what endures. The Mojave always has the final say, its vastness swallowing up dreams and roads alike, leaving only silence and sand behind. Who lives in California City today? A mix of people drawn by space and affordability. Retirees enjoy the quiet and low cost, forming the community's stable core. Working-class families come for cheap housing, but many endure long commutes for work. Artists, off-roaders, and desert lovers embrace the solitude and open landscape. Life here is simple and self-reliant. Few stores, few amenities, and a lot of planning required. For major needs, residents drive to bigger towns. The trade-off peace and space in exchange for convenience. Privacy is the default. Neighbors are few, but community ties run deep. For 14,000 residents, the unfinished city is home, a place where the dream of space and quiet is still alive. They've made peace with the Mojave's silence. California City's economy has always struggled. The biggest employer is the California City Correctional Center, a private prison. Other jobs come from city government, schools, and nearby Edwards Air Force Base. But these aren't enough to spark real growth. Recently, the city bet on cannabis, designating land for commercial cultivation. Investors built greenhouses, hoping for a green rush to save the city. From land speculation to prisons to pot, California City keeps searching for an economic identity. The latest gamble is still playing out. California City is a paradox, a vast city that feels empty, a monument to ambition and failure. It endures, but its future is uncertain. The city struggles with a small tax base, aging infrastructure, and a reputation as a cautionary tale. Its isolation remains its biggest challenge, yet hope persists. Some dream of solar farms, others of a thriving cannabis industry. There's always the distant hope that Southern California's growth will finally reach this far. For now, California City is a living museum of American optimism and overreach. Its empty streets tell a story about the limits of planning and the power of geography. A city needs more than roads and lots, it needs a soul. The future will be shaped by those who choose to stay, retirees, families, and desert individualists. California City may never become the metropolis it was meant to be, but its story isn't over. In the Mojave, the dream lingers, waiting for its time to arrive.